I'm trying Clinique Even Better foundation. Let's see if it works on this nearly 60-year-old face. I'm going to start by clipping my hair out of the way. And if you watch any of my other videos, you know that I have some darker under eye circles. I know some people's are darker than mine, but mine are dark enough. And I have tear troughs. So I always start with my Pixie under eye corrector, and I'm going to do that off camera. Now that the Pixie Peach corrector is on my under eye, and I also did a few other spots, I was looking really bright in my camera, so I turned down the ISO a little bit just to try to get enough brightness so you can see what I'm doing. All right, so now I'm ready to put on this Clinique Even Better foundation. This is not the glow. I tried the glow in the store, and on the back of my hand, it was just too glowy for me. I like a little bit of glow, but not as much as in that one. And it's also not the refresh. A lot of people were saying they didn't like the refresh. So this is just the regular one. And this color is called Breeze. It's CN02, but it's called Breeze. Now, it has a little tip on this. So compared to my Emlyn, which has a paddle where I can get every single drop of the 1 ounce out of the bottle till it's almost dry, this one, you know, you're only going to be able to get as much out as you can squirt. And I'm going to put it on my finger and then dot it on my face. And I'll be using another mirror here because I'm using daylight, which I love to use daylight for my foundation. It's actually darker in here than it seems on the camera. So it's just a little harder for me to see. Now I like to spread this around with my finger. I have tried this with a damp beauty blender and it's okay, but I go back to my regular flat e.l.f. brush, which I'll show you in a second, after I get it really smoothed around. I don't know how I put on foundation back in the day without a brush to just buff it out. Okay. I like to get it really close to my eyebrows, under my eye. And the thing is, after doing all that work on my under eye, I don't like to over brush it. But I do put foundation on my under eye, and I want a foundation that works on my under eye under my Pixie because it gives a nice even color all over my face, and you don't see any demarcation that way from my tear troughs. All right, so let's get started with this brush. This is the e.l.f. They call it the powder brush, but it's completely flat. And I like to, let's see, I'll do both sides so you can see what I'm doing. I like to go all around the edges. Get in the little corners. And I just tap at my eyes. But I don't over brush there. Let's see. In this light in the monitor, it does look really light, but I'm going to be going over that with some bronzer and blush. So let me, at this point in my editing, I'm going to zoom in so that you can see some of this more close up. All right, now at this point, I like to put on some highlighter. And my favorite to use for that is my Emlyn Under Eye, which is brighter now than I use. The Pixie is much more peachy color. I go with color just a little darker than my skin tone for the under eye. but this is a nice highlighter without being super shiny. And I like to put it, here, let me, another mirror over here. I like to put it on the side of my nose and bring it out. Just using my ring finger. And I will be blending this out. Sometimes I'll put a little bit up here. And depending on the time of day and where I'm going, I might put some right under the tear trough. So in other words, I don't put brightener in the tear trough because for me it doesn't work. If I didn't have a tear trough, yeah, I'd be putting brightener under my eye all day. But I put it right below that because whatever's lighter is going to draw the other people's eye. So I'd rather have their eye drawn to not the tear trough. And then I blend that using this Eco Tools buffing brush, also a flat top brush. So I blend all that out so it's still there, but it's not as noticeable. And I'll notice later in the day, if I pass by a mirror, I think, okay, yeah, that still looks good. Now with powder, I only powder these days parts of my face. I use powder blush, so I put it on my cheeks. And for my videos, I've noticed ever since I've been experimenting with my camera and instead of using my bright lights, using daylight, I've noticed that my nose looks kind of shiny, especially when I'm doing kind of this close-up version where my head is almost filling the whole thing. And I'm using this, I got this sample of a Kat Von D loose powder. It's a translucent setting powder. So I'm going to use some of that. I like to use up these samples that I get. I just put some in the cap, take a big fluffy brush, try to get some in my tiny little cap here, and then just start swirling it on my cheeks. And I'm going to put it on my nose. But if I want a glow, I don't put it on my whole face. Kind of depends on where I'm going, what I'm doing, and how hot it is outside. Next, I'm going to use a blush, or no, this is not blush. It could be used as the blush, but this is a Pixie bronzer. This is the lighter of their two bronzers, and I'll link this below. I can't read that. It's called Sunny something. They only have two. So just swirling into it, and I'm just going to do a little bit. It's interesting to see what you see in the lighting of the camera. Sometimes it looks like too much, but in real life it's okay. All right, not too much. And then if I want, I can take my big fluffy brush again and brush some of that out. All right, so now I'm ready for blush. I'm using the Clinique Nude Pop. This is the lightest one they make in more of a peachy tone, but I'm wearing, you can't see it right now, but I'm wearing a peachy color shirt. And I think this is, I don't know whose brush this is, Sonia Kashuk maybe. And I'll do a little bit down here. All right. I'm going to do the rest of my face, my eyes, obviously, and I'll be right back. That's a finished look. I also sprayed my face before I put on mascara with Urban Decay's All Nighter because it's a very hot and humid day out today, and I want to give my makeup a chance to last all day and into the evening. So I want to zoom in so that you can see now with the finished look. And now that a little bit of time, maybe 15 minutes has gone by since the last clip, and you can see my skin a little bit closer up. And I have worn this foundation already, and I think it's a pretty good match for me. It's going to give my Emlyn foundation a run for its money. They're both 1 ounce. This is $29 right now, so it's something that you should go out and at least sample. I mean, take a look at it and see if there's something that would be a match for you. I think you'd really like this. If you're a beauty blender person, by the way, I think this would work really well with a beauty blender. So check out one of my other videos by clicking one of its images on the right side of your screen, and I'll see you in the next video.